All right, let's hit it. Gotta crank it up.
And now for something completely different.
This is Shug Jordan, coach of the Auburn Tigers.
Say what?
No.
It's pronounced
Jordan.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This is Shug Jordan, football coach of the Auburn Tigers.
Ooh, my goodness. And this is Jeremy Henderson, host of It's Pronounced Jordan, editor of the War Eagle Reader, and hey, also a host of Jer Bear in the Morning, posting every day, 7 a.m.-ish or so. Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, it's everywhere you want to be. You should check it out. Recommend that you do if you're looking for a little just fun Jer action. We talk Auburn stuff, we talk life. Awesome if we talk Auburn stuff. Real quick, I gotta thank Colin, my newest patron at Patreon. Colin, you made my day. Thanks a ton. Joe, Zach, Clint, Ed, Patrick, Marsha, Greg, Wilburn, Temple, Chad, Justin, Barry, all the folks I'm forgetting. Thanks a ton. It really, really means a lot. I couldn't do it without you. Hey, if you'd like to help the show keep going, please check out the support options. It's pronouncedjordan.com. There's a support thing. Or you can just go straight to Patreon, which is the fun, hip way to do it. Patreon.com/The War Eagle Reader. That's Patreon.com/The War Eagle Reader. It's something you can sign up for, but it's a really cool way to help out. You get free stuff. You get free books that I will finally be able to write now thanks to your wonderful support. So, today's episode of It's Pronounced Jordan. Let's get down to it.
War Eagle, by God!
So, remember last year, there was maybe 2 years ago when Rich and I were trying to get the podcast version of It's Pronounced Jordan up and running, and we did decently, but we had an episode called Real-Time Research on Kes Fabian, the Sausage King of Vestavia. Now, Kes was a name that I had seen in Shug's archives, like all over the place, right? He was a serial Shug corresponder, and I would read Shug's letters sometimes, just for content. It's easy, it's fun, it's interesting. And Kes would send Shug sausage. Say that 10 times. Kes would send Shug sausage come Christmas every year. I don't know if the man made the sausage, if he had a sausage connection. I don't even think I asked him that. Maybe I did when we talked. I'm getting ahead of myself. So we actually start doing some real-time research on the show because I didn't know exactly who he was. But with a name like Kes Fabian, he's got to be somebody, right? And if he's all up in the archives, he has to be somebody with some great Auburn connections, ergo, great Auburn stories. Obviously, somebody I would need to get in touch with at some point. So we do that, and we learn, and I say of Vestavia because I learned in the process of doing some real-time research that he lived right around, and maybe still does actually, right around the corner from my growing up house in Vestavia. So I'm like, small world, getting smaller every day. How wonderful. Kes, War Eagle to you, right? Well, I get an email right after this. It's from Tim Lacey, whom, unless I have the wrong Tim Lacey, was the manager for the 1972 Amazons. Ever heard of him? Tim is incredulous. Jeremy, I cannot believe you don't know who Kes Fabian is. I can't believe you don't know him already. You guys aren't like pen pals or whatever. Here's his contact information. You got to get in touch with Kes. So over the past year or so, he's been reminding me of that. I keep saying, yeah, I'm going to get in touch with Kes. I think Kes maybe even reached out once or twice, understandably, right? So I'm talking about the man. And now that you Google Kes Fabian, and that's going to be the first thing that comes up. So it's understandable. I owe him this, and of course I would want this. And a few weeks back, maybe a month or so back, it finally happened. Talked with Kes for about an hour and a half. Now, I'm not going to post the entire episode, but a couple of segments really stood out to me. And the first one that did is going to be the subject for today. It's been one I've wanted to go into on the War Eagle Reader for a while now. I've known about it. It's this tragic yet ultimately kind of heartwarming story, this chapter in Auburn history that a lot of people don't know about, but hey, that's why I'm here, right? That's one of the reasons God put me on this earth, obviously. Bill Tucker, right? Bill Tucker was an Auburn quarterback, a freshman in 1948, came down, understudied under Travis Tidwell, did some good things I'll let Kes tell you about in the 1949 Iron Bowl, the legendary Iron Bowl. That was the second one after the drought. And in 1951, heading into that season, his senior season, Shug's first year, he something happened to him. I'm going to let Kes kind of introduce it and everything, but Kes knew Bill. Bill's dad was the coach at Phillips High School, I believe. So he was a star prep dude up in Birmingham, and everybody had high expectations, especially for his senior year. Now, the junior year had not done that well, and one of the reasons maybe that we hadn't done that well is that he had broken his nose 3 times that year, and get this, when you hear the rest of the story, I think his senior year of high school, in a hunting accident, lost 3 fingers on his left hand. 3 fingers. This part I didn't know about until I've known about Bill Tucker and his story for years, but I did not know about the hand incident. The fact that we've had a quarterback with only 7 total fingers, that's something right there. I mean, that's its own show. But the thing that happened to him leading into his senior year of college is the main subject for today, and I'll talk a little bit more about it after Kes introduces him. Again, Kes was kind of a younger brother. Bill was kind of a big brother to Kes, and that is why Kes kind of came down to Auburn, because Bill came down, and then they would still hang out. And then Kes went on to become a spotter after he got really, really involved at the athletic department as a student, coming down, I think, in 52 or 53, and got really, really involved and did a lot of stuff for Bill Beckwith, the sports information director. And that led to all the stories, and then all the sausage and all the letters. So, Kes Fabian, ladies and gentlemen.
You said Billy Tucker, right?
Yeah.
Now he was the quarterback that we had who contracted polio, isn't he?
Yes, that's right. That's right. Bill was a freshman in 48, and then he was starting quarterback. And we played 3 freshman games every year. Then in 49, he was number 2 quarterback, but that's when Travis Tidwell, his senior year.
Right.
And senior year, and Bill did the place kicking.
Right, right.
Field goals and extra points. He did the place kicking. So in the 49 Auburn, Alabama game, we upset them. 14-13, Bill kicked the 2 extra points, beat
right.
Alabama.
Oh, awesome.
14-13, and Tidwell was a senior, and Bill was a sophomore, and I got to know Ed Salem, from Alabama. Had the restaurant, and anyway, I got to know Ed pretty well over the years, and I have no use for Alabama, and I have very few Alabama friends, really. I just don't. I'm Auburn. And I don't go. I've never been to a football game at Tuscaloosa, and I won't go. And as far as Alabama and Auburn playing, Alabama playing anyone, maybe I'm narrow-minded, but that's the way I am. But I got to know Ed, real nice guy. And, he was All-American and went and played a number of years for the Washington Redskins. And Ed was a tailback, running back. He said, golly, he used to kid me. He said, and he knew Bill, and he said, boy, Bill got so much publicity after beating us after that Alabama game, Auburn, Alabama game. He said, I had a real good game and so many yards rushing and completed so many passes and so forth. And he said, and all he did was kick 2 extra points. Right. And I had a real good game. And so Bill, Jeremy, he, 1950, and that was the year we were 0-10.
Right.
And Bill was a quarterback. And we always, at that time, we always played Georgia, Georgia in Columbus, and they beat us 13-10, and Bill scored all 10 points for us. A field goal, extra point, and about a 2-yard quarterback sneak. But it was all 10 points that he scored all of our points that year. And see, then Coach Jordan came in, that winter, and Bill was there for Coach Jordan's first spring training, fall of '51, and that's when we had that polio epidemic all over the southeast, and Bill was an outdoors type. He liked hunting and fishing and frog gigging and so forth, anything outdoors. And that summer, nearly the whole team just stayed in Auburn that summer and worked out. Well, Bill was in summer school, naturally, and working out, and then going frog gigging and so forth. And they say if your system was run down, that helped bring that on, polio on. And the last time I was living in Linden, Alabama that summer. I was a construction superintendent, putting in the natural gas system in Linden. We were living down there, and that's how we found out about Bill. Ms. Tucker called us down there in July, and the last time Bill walked, because he had fever and nausea and so forth, and he walked from Graves Center to the old infirmary. There on Magnolia.
Right.
The old infirmary. He walked in there, and he was, and so they started checking on him and so forth. And the next morning, they took him by ambulance from the Auburn Infirmary to Crippled Children's Clinic in Birmingham.
Yeah, I'm looking at a story right now. It's August 8th, the Billy Tucker, Birmingham first-string quarterback on the Auburn football team last fall, is ill of polio. An Auburn physician said today Tucker's being transferred to a Birmingham hospital for treatment.
Well, he was taken to that was the headquarters for polio victims.
Right.
So I tell you, I don't know about the other hospitals, but and I think this is why. But the Crippled Clinic had several iron lungs.
Okay.
For the patients that were affected, in the upper, body with the, lung problems. Now, Bill was, he came up, like I said, that next day, came to the Crippled Children's Clinic. Now, he ended up being paralyzed from the waist down. He didn't have a lung problem.
Right.
And then you remember Charlie Davis? He did. He was our color man.
Right.
He was for a long time, and he was working at WAPI, and he was station manager later on for a while. But anyway, Charlie got polio that same summer, and it affected him with just one leg. He limped. Now, just walking straight was okay, but when he went up steps, Charlie had to take one step at a time and drag that leg up to the next step and go like that. It affected him that way. And Bill went back to Auburn kept him on scholarship. Kept Bill on scholarship I started in '52, and he went back and finished school the fall of '52. And graduated in summer school in August of '53. And with me going around with Bill and everything, I got to know the coaches and so forth a lot, and that's how I got to say with the spotting. And then I used to go out with the coaches even when I was a student.
Yes. Kes. So glad we finally connected with the Sausage King of Vestavia. Going to be talking with him again for an upcoming episode, this time maybe about a guy named Jimmy Seidel. But I'm glad we got into Bill Tucker's story. Been wanting to do that for a while. Tragic story, but ultimately, like we said, heartwarming And like Kes said, Bill did come back to graduate, went on to do some great work for the March of Dimes, the Crippled Children's Clinic in Birmingham. In 1954, he actually went on a nationally broadcast game show, this really early one called Strike It Rich.
From New York City, live, it's Strike It Rich.
That sounds pretty awesome. Guess who also was awesome? Bill Tucker. Dude won the whole thing, all $500. It was this thing where a kind of a semi-celebrity would come on and try to win some money for somebody really down on their luck. They would read a letter about the circumstances, and you answer a question, you let it ride, answer a question, you let it ride. 500. He won it all. That made a story too. He was doing it for the March of Dimes of the Crippled Children's Clinic, something related to polio, and put out a call actually for people to call in and pledge, and gave him this number, and that became a story too because hundreds and thousands of people were starting doing it. $1 here, $5 there, raised a bunch of money. Ed Salem, the one Bama man that Kes could stomach, gave $1,000. So I guess one of them is, in fact, a decent human being. There's plenty more to Bill's story we didn't get to. It probably deserves its own episode. And if you know any more, give me a shout. TheWarEagleReader@gmail.com. I swear I remember a comment one time on the War Eagle Reader that said that was like their shop teacher. Maybe I'm imagining that, like in high school. And then I saw a story, I think, that said he went on to become a journalist. But we're going to leave it there for now. I'm going to go ahead and mention thewareaglereader.com again. It's pronounced Jordan.com if you would like to support the show, and I would not mind if you did. That kind of thing is going to definitely play a part in whether or not this thing can keep up at the rate that I'm planning. Hey, 2 episodes back-to-back, week-to-week, back-to-back weeks. You know what I'm saying, 2 weeks in a row. Okay, that's a big deal. Don't doubt this new commitment, all right? I've got the equipment. I am locked and loaded. Stay tuned for next show. I think it's going to be about how Auburn was once a death trap for SEC beat writers. So you're not going to want to miss that. War Eagle, thanks again.